Welcome to the Aim High podcast. Do you want to get into real estate but don't know where to start? Do you wonder how others are living rent-free? Our guest today is Sarah Weaver. Sarah thought about house hacking a property, living in one unit of a quad, and turned her whole perspective on life around. I promise that by the end of this episode, you'll learn about mid or medium-term rentals and how you can get involved and own them. Find out how she started in real estate and how working with others helped her to grow in this space. Find out all of that and more today, where we provide real estate investors with the tools to achieve generational wealth. Welcome to the Aim High podcast. I'm your host, Bud Evans. Good day, high flyers, and welcome to the Aim High podcast. Today, we are joined with Sarah Weaver. Sarah is a midterm rental aficionado and published author with Bigger Pockets. Sarah, how you doing today?
I'm really good. Thanks for having me.
Great. Sarah, you and I have met on a couple of different occasions, but can you do me a favor and please give me a brief introduction?
Absolutely. So thank you for aficionado. I really like that. I'm going to have to use that. I am the author of 30-Day Stay. It is a guide for real estate investors to master the medium-term rental. So that furnished rental where we cater to guests who stay 30 days or longer. It's part of my investing strategy. I own 19 units in 4 states. And so I think what makes me unique, Bud, is that I'm an out-of-state investor and often an out-of-country investor. I just had my 4-year anniversary of being nomadic.
Nice. And I love that part of your story. So you love to travel, right? And you're funding that through your real estate?
Absolutely. Not only the real estate, but then I also run 3 other businesses. So I have Aria Design Services. We furnish, and we will analyze, furnish, and help you launch your furnished rental. We serve investors nationwide. So last year we did 37 units in 11 states. Then I own a coaching company. I have my mentorship program. So I help investors invest out of state and often use the medium-term rental strategy. But really my specialty is helping you invest anywhere in the world. And then of course, because I love travel, my 3rd company is Invested Adventures. So then once you own furnished rentals, maybe you even hired me to furnish them, you have all this extra money, Bud, and you don't know what to do, well, come on an adventure with other real estate investors. This year, I have 7 of just for the first half of the year, and I can't wait to announce what we're doing the second half of the year.
Wow. So you've come a long way, but how did you first get into real estate?
I first got into real estate as an agent. Do I think that this is important? All of you investors out there, no, I don't think it's necessary. But I was a real estate agent and realized really quickly that I didn't want to live in one place and build a book of business. And so I was like, okay, I did that wrong. What else should I do in real estate? And then I got into real estate investing. So I bought my first property at age 27 and just never looked back since.
That's awesome. So can you do me a favor and let's talk about, I know I usually ask, hey, what's your first deal? But since I know you as the midterm rental person, can you do me a favor and let's go into your first midterm rental?
Absolutely. Yeah. And it's a great example of using a bunch of different strategies. So the first medium-term rental that I furnished was a 4-plex. So I bought a 4-plex. It was my last owner occupied that I've purchased because I knew I wanted to leave my W-2. So I thought, man, I don't really want to house hack one more time, but I think I should to take advantage of that lower down payment. So I house hacked a 4-plex using the FHA 3.5% down, put 3.5% down, and 3 of the 4 units were occupied with long-term tenants. So it was a perfect house hack. It worked out that 1 unit was vacant. So I moved into that unit and I furnished it because I lived there. And then I put it on Airbnb thinking people would maybe book a weekend here and there. I'll go travel because I love to travel, or I'll go stay at grandma and grandpa's because it's one of the many reasons I bought in this area is my grandparents live about an hour away. And to my surprise, I think my very first or my very second guest asked to stay for 90 days. Now I own 9 of these furnished units that cater to people staying 90 days or more.
Wow. So let's go into some numbers. How much did you buy that for?
320,000. And that was market value. It was an off-market deal found by an investor-friendly agent. I was
Mhm.
living in New Zealand at the time. And so that's 8,000 miles away and definitely way different time zone. And I texted my criteria to an investor-friendly agent. He found this deal off market, negotiated, getting them to accept FHA was a little bit difficult, but he did it because he's a great negotiator. And then he negotiated the purchase price of 320, which was about market rate. I definitely wasn't getting it undervalued by any means.
Was the rehab required or was it pretty much turnkey?
It was pretty much turnkey. I would say I spent about less than $2,000 just cosmetic updates.
Okay. You moved into it, you were house hacking it. When people started to move out after this epiphany that you were using for that person who asked you to move in 90 days, how much did it cost you to furnish the place? Like when you started to take it to the midterm level?
Yes, you guys do not quote me on this number. This is not possible to furnish a 1 bedroom, 1 bath at the price I'm about to say. But one, I used a lot of Facebook Marketplace, a lot of used furniture, and just inflation. Like inflation has hit so hard on furniture. I think that category is like 22% increase on just furniture alone. However, back then, this was May 2021, I furnished the first unit for 4,300. And then the unit downstairs, I was the next one I furnished, and I furnished that one for 5,700. I'm
Okay.
so sorry, but in 2023, you're looking at a little closer to 7,000 for that same
Okay.
outfit.
Okay. And you pretty much cash flowed immediately.
Oh, yeah. So the PITI, principal, interest, taxes, and insurance, my monthly payment is $2,010. I think it's $2,017.
Okay.
And one unit long-term rents for $850. The second long-term tenant rents for $850. And then my unit rented while I was away, rented for $1,875. And then the unit below me rents for $1,875. So then once the next long-term tenant lease came available, he moved out. So now I have 3 medium-term rentals. They're all paying $1,875. And then that long-term tenant still pays $850.
That's fantastic. That is absolutely incredible.
Yes.
Congratulations on that. And you've done that multiple times since then, right?
Thank you.
And
So then I saw the landlord mowing his lawn next door, and I have a journalism degree. I love research. So I not only looked him up on the internet, I looked him up on LinkedIn. I knew where he lived. I knew how many properties he owned because I also looked him up on the tax records. So I walked
nice.
across the street, introduced myself because I knew he owned the property. And before I did something really unique, Bud. I look, and this might be very woo woo, but I think it's important to be transparent. I looked in the mirror and I said, "You're going to buy the building next door." And I was confident that I was going to buy his building even before I introduced myself. And in that 5-10 minute conversation, he said to me, "Do you know anyone who'd be interested in buying my property?" And 8 days
Nice.
later, I was under contract on that property as well.
Nice. It's like the vibes, right? He must have felt the vibes like, hey, I'm going to buy that guy's property. And then you
Uh-huh.
walked out front. It's like, hey, do you want to buy my property or know anybody who does? That's
It was
fantastic.
incredible.
I love that story. Okay. Now you've bought that. You've done it multiple times. What are you working on now?
Yes, great question. It's the active businesses. So I'm loving the ARIA Design Services. We serve investors nationwide. It's so fun not only to be a part of the design process, but it's what I call the after effect. So we have a client who bought a property and turned it into a furnished rental. It went so well that he decided to turn one of his long-term rentals into a furnished rental with the goal of retiring his wife. And
Mhm.
within the year, she quit. And now she not only manages their Airbnbs, she also is taking on other clients and managing other people's Airbnbs as well. And they have called me multiple times to say thank you. And just what this has done for their family and their marriage and her as a mother. And I just think, wow, like I'm doing something so much bigger than just owning a company that furnishes rentals. It's such a bigger thing than that. And so I'm really pouring into that company as well as Invested Adventures. We're doing really cool trips for real estate investors for the same reason, is that real estate investors are telling me that they want to live a big life and that they're like, yeah, I like real estate, but I really didn't get into this to work all the time. I want some adventure or freedom or travel. And so now they get to come hang out with other real estate investors and do exactly that.
Okay. So do you, and I'm just going to ask this out, are there like specific property managers who deal with midterm rentals?
Oh, great question. If there are, and you're listening to this podcast, please reach out to me, because my property manager, I do have a duplex, so 2 units under management. They're both long-term rentals, and that property management company will not manage my medium-term rentals. And so I have other properties in that area where 1 unit is a medium-term rental and 1 unit is a long-term rental, and they won't manage the property. And so I'm still looking for that right person. And so what I've done and what I recommend to a lot of people is I've brought management in-house. So my
Okay.
executive assistant is the property manager. So she's handling all tenant inquiries, tenant maintenance requests, finding new tenants, handling vendors. That's all handled by my virtual assistant or by my executive assistant.
Great. And a follow-up question on that, because I know that we haven't talked about this one yet, but the differences between a short-term, or I'm sorry, the differences between a long-term type of property manager and a midterm, or what you would be doing as property management. Do you find that there's a difference in tenants?
Absolutely. So my long-term tenants, they are obviously taking care of the unit because they live there long term for the year. I am so grateful. I have incredible tenants that renew year after year. So it really is their home, right? And so they bring to my attention when something really is broken. Otherwise, they're taking care of things. I don't hear from them very often. My furnished rentals, the medium term tenant, like a traveling nurse, for example, that stays there for 90 days, they still act like an Airbnb guest. So if something breaks, they expect you to fix it right away. And at first, that was a little annoying, if I'm honest, because you're like, oh my God, it's just constant stuff, right? But here's what's beautiful. You never have that big expense during a turnover. So my long-term tenant, I just had a big turnover last summer, and these boys had been living in my house for 2 years. Turns out they never told me anything about the house. So when I got possession of it, it was like, oh gosh, there's all these things that need to be taken care of. New carpet, new paint, a bathroom, like all these things. It was pretty expensive. Whereas with the medium term rentals, because I'm constantly doing small things here and there, my properties are incredibly well upkept. And because I get cleaners in there at least every 90 days, if not more frequently, I'm getting eyes in the unit so often that the unit, I haven't had to repaint a wall, because your medium term tenant isn't moving in and out, scratching up walls, denting things. So I haven't repainted a unit. I haven't had to redo flooring. So in the end, it actually does better for my unit's upkeep.
Okay, great. And great point. Because I had to think something similar to what you just said. Your regular tenant, your long-term tenant, don't really tell you what's going wrong in the house, where your short-term, yeah, absolutely, your midterm tenant is going to be, hey, you need to get on this. That's awesome. Great point. I know the answer to this, but I'm going to ask it anyway. What would you say is your niche in real estate?
Oh man, that's great. Of course, medium term rental. I think that this furnished rental space is big enough for so many of us. So I want to be the first to say I did not invent the medium term rental. And there's people that own a lot more than I do. But what I did is I took the time to break it down, because I love being a teacher. And so like in my mentorship, I love teaching this stuff in a way that everyone can understand. And that's something that I feel like Ziana and I did really well in the book, is we made it really easy for anyone to understand the strategy. And even experienced hosts, while they found some chapters elementary, they were like, man, that was a really good nugget on financing, or a really good piece on how to furnish, or, oh, I forgot to ask my cleaners or my vendors those questions. And so the book is really meant to be a guide. I love it when people read it from beginning to end, but I almost would encourage you to pick out the chapters that you need most and read those.
Great point. Great tip. I can't wait for it to come in, but I'm looking forward to actually buying my first. But what is on the horizon for you?
Really focusing on how can I systematically scale my portfolio. So when you self-manage, it can feel really heavy, because not only are you having to do acquisitions and due diligence, and then I'm going to have to furnish the property. Thankfully, I own a company that will do it for me now. So Aria will furnish the property, but then I have to put it into management. And so does my executive assistant have enough bandwidth to manage another property? Do we have the systems in place to make it easy and scalable? And I'm really excited. I would say I'm almost there. I think within the next 30 days, I have every part of the process so systematized that I could buy another 10 to 20 units and it wouldn't break the system.
Okay. Now, let's talk about Aria really quick. Is that localized, or is that nationwide, or how are you working with that?
Nationwide. So we can furnish from anywhere. Part of our service options is that we can actually furnish from afar. So we actually don't come in and see the unit. And then some of our clients choose to work with us where they actually fly us out and we do all of the install as well.
That is a fantastic business model, and you get to fly someplace for free. That's fantastic. So now you're on the upswing, right? You've got everything moving. What is one thing that you learned as your wealth increased?
That just because you have extra commas in your bank account does not cure any type of mental, let's call them blockages, that you might have. So for example, I still have scarcity mindset around money sometimes. I have been so engineered to be frugal during my 20s as I was traveling the world and really actually pinching pennies to make that lifestyle work for me. And now that there is money in the bank, I'm still that girl trying to get a deal on everything. And sometimes I need to spend money, like on a new employee, for example, because I need more bandwidth, or I want a less stressful life. And so I need to hand some things off of my plate. But there's still that scarcity mindset from that girl that's used to not having money, that I have to quiet that voice and really focus on abundance, even when it comes to money.
I had Stephen Trang on here. He said exactly the same thing. The change from the scarcity to the abundance mindset is imperative in our business. A great point. Thank you for that.
But I have abundance mindset in so many other areas. For example, someone in my mentorship program is launching her own coaching program. I posted all about it on Instagram. I brought it up in our mentorship because I really believe there's enough for her to be wildly successful and for me to be wildly successful as a coach. Just like I think like anyone can have their consulting business and make great money. And there's enough deals out there for agents. Like I hate when I see agents like being malicious towards each other, because I'm like, guys, there's enough deals out there for everyone to make money on this. Take a piece of the pie. There's no need to like not offer pie to anyone. And I feel like I'm really good at that piece. The abundance mindset, even just abundance mindset, like your mindset is so powerful. Like that example of me walking across my shared driveway to buy that fourplex from my neighbor. So I know I have abundance mindset in other areas, yet with money, I still struggle.
And that's okay. Hey, listen, the funny thing about what you just said is that I have this saying that I in fact, Yasser and I talk about this just about every time we're on the phone. It's collaboration over competition in this business. And he is one one county over. So if he has something over here that he'll send it my way. And if I have something over here, I'll send it his way, or over there, then I'll send it his way. But yeah, it's absolutely, there is so much real estate to go around, so many things that you can do to get. I heard Brandon Turner say at one time that 50% of a good deal is better than 100% of no deal at all, right?
Yes.
There are so many different ways that we can all work together and still all be extremely successul. So that was a
Yes.
great.
And I'll give an example of a time where I quieted that scarcity mindset around money. So speaking of Brandon Turner, I had an opportunity to attend Maui Mastermind.
Nice.
And for anyone that knows about it, it's a little bit pricey. It
Yeah.
costs money to go, right? And so I had to really sit down and wrestle with this scarcity mindset around money, because it's like, Sarah, if you just write the check, or put, in my case, I opened, actually, this is a fun tip. I actually opened a new credit card so that I could get the welcome bonus. And then I got 100,000 free miles. So always be thinking about how to travel hack or credit card hack.
Yeah.
And I thought, okay, if you put this on your credit card and you have money in your bank account to pay off the credit card, what could come from it? And I realized that not only would it pay for itself, but it would probably end up being exponential. And I was exactly right. There was something that I got at Maui Mastermind that had me pivot what I was doing in one of my businesses, and I made $100,000 the following month.
Nice. That is
Yeah.
fantastic. That is a boom moment, like mic drop type stuff, right?
Yeah. And Sarah, 3 years ago, even if I had, and I would have had the money in my account because I'm a saver. I wouldn't have done that. I wouldn't have signed up. I would have thought, that's not for someone like me. That's too much money. But now I really believe, like, I really am an incredible business person, and I'm still learning. I will never pretend like I know more than I do, but I know that I'm meant to be in business. And so signing up for things like that are a part of it.
Hey, Sarah, I'm a fan. Absolutely. It's one of the reasons that I was fighting so hard to get you over here. I thank you very much for being here. If you're ready, we're going to go into the Soaring 4. Good day, high flyers. Do you need help with your business? We can help you get out of a jam or even get you started in real estate. Check us out at budevans.com. Are you ready to take your real estate investment sky high? Aim High REI is the perfect Facebook community for you. Get answers from experienced investors, connect with other motivated individuals, and benefit from valuable resources all in one place. If that sounds like something that interests you, join our amazing network today, and we will help elevate your investing journey beyond what you think is possible. Simply search Aim High REI on Facebook. Thanks. Now back to the show. These are the same 4 questions that we ask every guest to help people who are just starting out achieve new heights. Are you ready?
Let's do it. I'm ready.
Great. Okay. What is one thing you use to keep you motivated?
I have a very clear, vivid vision. I know exactly where I want to be in 3 years, and I don't know exactly how I'm going to get there. The how is less important, but I know exactly where I'm going.
Great. Terrific. You have a vision board, or do you just write things down?
No, because I'm carry on only and I'm always traveling, mine is and because I like written word. So mine is a letter to myself that I have written. And it's very detailed on, like, where do I live? What do I look like? What do I feel like? What kind of conversations do I have? What are my friends like? It's essentially a letter to myself explaining what my life is like 3 years from now.
Oh, that is very cool. Very cool. All right. What is one thing that you learned that completely changed your mindset?
That people 2, even 10 steps ahead of me also have self-doubt and worry and stress. And so all of these things that I'm feeling aren't like my body trying to keep me safe or keep me away from danger. It's just a part of the process. So it's not always that doubt in your mind doesn't mean stop. It's just normal to have those feelings.
Absolutely. That's a great point. I just had a mindset conversation with Tarek's group this weekend. We talked about mindset and shifting from the fixed to the growth mindset, and imposter syndrome was one of the major topics. Fantastic. And you just proved my point that it doesn't matter how great you are or how big you get, it always hits you every once in a while because it's very
Yeah.
difficult to get past. You get blocks, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And then the bigger you get, then you then see the next table and you're like, I want to seat at that table. And so it's probably never ending.
Exactly. So, what are some tools that keep you on track?
Great question. I live and die by my calendar. So if you want to get something done, I think you need to plan it. So my Google Calendar has everything. And then from there, I use a task management software. So there's Asana, Monday.com, Trello. It doesn't matter which one you use, but when you have multiple things going on or even multiple properties, you have to have some type of way to track that and then collaborate. So
Yeah,
having my team, I'm up to, I think, 5 contractor employees right now. And I need a way to collaborate and communicate with them. So we do that through us.
fantastic. That's what we use here too. And it's definitely unique. I never thought I'd be a fan of a Gantt chart until I actually started using Asana. And then you just watch the timelines and it's like, that's really cool. And the big question is, if you had to start over, what is one thing you'd change?
I would start using other people's money faster.
Great point. Simply put, perfect and to the point. Fantastic. Yeah. One of the things that we teach is when you're looking for your rental properties, don't use your own money if you can at all possibly avoid it. Try to get private money first. If you can't, hard money combination with a gap fund from a private lender. Is that kind of where you're going with that?
Yeah, I think that if I had realized what it would be like to have equity partners, that it's
Hmm.
not like giving away half of your deal, but
Yeah.
rather gaining half of a deal with no money in the deal, I probably would have used equity partners sooner. And then when you have the ability to use debt partners and have the
Mhm.
ability to burr out of it or refinance out of it, absolutely do that because that's the best way to recycle your capital.
Couldn't have said it better myself. All right. Fantastic. Sarah, thank you very much. I really do appreciate you. That's pretty much it. But thank you very much for being here. I really do appreciate your time. I know you're very busy. And wait a second, I'm just going to put this out there. Can you do me a favor?
Yes.
I know you just sustained an injury because I think look, I'm a military guy, right? So I respect the badassery. So here's the deal. Tell me what happened the Friday before your presentation.
Yes. So I host goal setting retreats every January. This one happened to be in Guatemala, which is in Central America. And 2 days before 17 people were meant to arrive, I broke all the bones in my arm. I broke my humerus, my radius, and my ulna, dislocated my elbow, and actually went on with the event in Guatemala with the broken arm. And then I actually flew back with some of the guests, which was really nice. Thank you, Robert, for carrying my backpack. And had to fly to Omaha, Nebraska, because that's where my insurance is in network. And the surgeon saw me and immediately took me into surgery. And I will have a prosthetic elbow for the rest of my life. And I tore all the ligaments in my arm. And so I can hold my toothbrush, but I can't even hold a cup of coffee. Like that's how bad my hand is still today.
Get well soon. And thank you for that story because it just goes to prove grind through whatever hits you. I
Yeah.
mean,
I'm no David Goggins. I want to be very clear. I'm not like running on broken legs, but my event, it gave me so much energy. And my arm was so swollen that in my mind, I thought it was the right decision to just go ahead with the event, let the swelling go down. And also my event like provided a fantastic distraction from how much pain I was in. And it's almost been 30 days since the accident, and full transparency, I'm still in a ton of pain. Like I haven't slept through the night. And yet I still wake up and I'm excited to be here. I love my job and feel really blessed that I invested in real estate so that on the days that I don't feel like getting out of bed, I can make a few phone calls and cancel my day and really take care of myself. And I only am able to do that because I've invested in real estate.
great closing. Sarah, thank you very much again and get well soon. And to those of you listening on the podcast or watching on YouTube, until the next time we meet, aim high. Hey, just a reminder, if you enjoyed this content, don't forget to like and subscribe. If you want some more real estate and finance related videos, you can check out our other videos right here. And as always, aim high.